Alright, what's good, boys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my exact scaling system that I use to hit 10K days with branded dropshipping. So the problem that most people are making is they try to scale on ripped ads, and it's not a good thing because like I'm about to show in a second about creative fatigue. But if you do try to scale just straightly on Callo data, you're kind of like this dude right here. You're literally just going to end up burning your money. You're going to try to scale it super fast. Those ads are going to die out, and then you're just going to be cooked because we have this thing that's called creative fatigue. And what creative fatigue basically is you got the amount of money the ad's going to make you and then the time that the ad actually stays alive. So most spans of rips, like let's say you launch a product, you're successful and the rips are doing good, right? You're going to be like this. It's going to be all good. It's going to be trending up. Then you're kind of going to plateau a little bit, and then it's just going to start free falling right back down, right? So as you're scaling up, when you're at the top, right, you might be at let's just say like a 3x ROAS, and you think you're just absolutely printing cash, you're super profitable. But then that ad is going to start to fatigue. So then you're going to end up in this spot where you're going to be at maybe like a 2.7 ROAS, and you're going to drop down again. You're going to be like a 1.8. And before you know it, you're going to be all the way down here at a 0.8 ROAS, and you're going to be freaking the fuck out, and you're just going to end up cutting the product. That's because you're not actually building out a proper system inside of your ad account to actually be able to keep these ads alive. So basically, if you're using Callo for anything besides just validating this product, you're pretty fucking cooked, gang. It's really hard, especially in this day and age with Callo being super, super competitive, to actually be able to scale on Callo ads alone. So you actually have to start making your own ads. And in this video, this is exactly what I'm going to be showing you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys the exact system that I use to actually be able to scale to 10K days without just running straight Callo ads. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to figure out who we are selling to. There's a couple ways you guys can go about this. Number one, just doing market research. You can go on platforms like Reddit, go on YouTube, you can go on, whoops, my bad for the spelling, you could go on like Amazon, right? You can go on any of these platforms and you can just start doing really, really deep research on your product. Another thing that you can also do is literally just take the ripped ad that you have. So you have your ripped ad, literally just transcribe it, put it into ChatGPT and be like, hey chat, what angle is this hitting? What type of avatar am I actually targeting in this? And then you can kind of tell from there. But where most of you guys are going to be able to find is from actually doing the research yourself. And then also you guys can kind of look at the rip creative that's actually performing really well and is the top spend in your ad account and see, all right, does that kind of relate to the research that I'm finding in here? And then the second that we find the core avatar, that's what we're going to start basing the rest of our things on. You guys kind of see what I have down here. I'll kind of go into that in a second. But a really key thing is that you want this core avatar to be desire-based, right? You want it to be desire-based because the desire is what's going to get them to buy, right? Like past experiences, that might help them. But the thing that's really going to get these guys to convert is the desire. So what you're looking for is just a mass desire that this core avatar, what they all are feeling. And then the best thing to do once we actually find that is to start grouping them up into sub-avatars. So all these people share the same core desire. Let's just say for this core avatar they're all scared of just like pharmaceutical drugs and they don't want to use those. That's their mass desire, is that they just don't want to use any pharmaceutical drugs. So maybe like sub-avatar 1 could be like taking something like Ozempic, right? Maybe they just don't want to use Ozempic because they see all the side effects of it. And that's just going to help with niching down of actually who you're selling to, because you're not just selling to now everybody who's scared of pharmaceutical drugs. You're testing the sub-avatar, which is the people who just don't want to take Ozempic. So that's kind of how I want you guys to think about it. And then how we're actually going to go about testing with this is we're going to be testing angles. I'll break this down a little bit when I go actually into how about we're testing, but it's really important to remember this. This is kind of this testing structure that we will be following, right? So you're going to want to find your core avatar, find 3 sub-avatars around this core avatar that's desire-based, and then we're going to find angles inside of them. So let's drop down here. So basically, the way that we're going to be testing is with image ads. And what I want you guys to really focus on is not reinventing the wheel, right? So what we want to go out there and look for is already winning formats that are inside our market, right? So I just grabbed a couple image ads right here that are really good, that are just formats that always perform year over year. So I mean, you kind of have just like an us versus them right over here. Old me versus focused me. You have a really good headline, that calls out the customer with just some benefits that actually the product has. So you have boost metabolism, supports weight loss, caffeine free, only 32 cows per serving. So like obviously Rise, this massive brand, they really understand their customers. So these are all things that they want. Also, we got another one over here. This one I just thought was a really, really good ad. Thick Hair Energy, introducing the One Night Strand Protein Repair Hair Mask. So like this is kind of what I'm talking about, and this is kind of what you want your image ads to look like, because like look at this headline. Like this is just like a headline that will just stand out. Thick Hair Energy. Like that's something that you're gonna like stick, and then you're actually gonna like read like what's on the ad. So you also look into here like, oh, One Night Strand, like another good play on words. And then all right, it's a protein repairing hair mask. Oh, protein repairing hair mask. Like what does protein and my hair have to kind of do together? You kind of look into it. Repairs hair damage, thickens hair for a fuller looking volume, then also strengthens weak strands. So that's going to get you really interested, and then you're actually going to go in and click on this ad. But these are kind of like the formats you guys could try out. Obviously, like some really good ways to like go about like actually finding formats is going to a platform like Get Hooked. I'll pop over there. Give me 1 second. All right, so now that we're over here in Get Hooked, to just kind of find good image ads that you would want, or like good winning formats that are in your market that you'd actually want to copy, you can just come over here to Get Hooked and basically just select it by 4 and 5-star performance. I don't know why this always turns on for me for some reason, but just turn that off and then make sure you guys select image. And basically you're going to be able to just go through all of these ads and just kind of look, all right, what's actually performing for other brands that are in my market. You can use like keyword search. So like if we were going to sell something like around Ozempic, maybe we could put something like just like weight loss, right? Just do like weight loss, and then we can just kind of see, all right, under just like the weight loss keyword, what is going to come up and what kind of ads are working right now in the market. So Beer Belly emergency plan. So this is actually a pretty good one. This is my Beer Belly emergency plan for summer. So kind of creating that urgency, like, oh, summer's right around the corner and you have a beer belly. Again, obviously Happy Mammoth really understands their customer. They're a massive brand. So you guys can just look through here and then just kind of see, all right, like what kind of formats are winning right now? What could I kind of copy and take from my own brand? And then by doing this, we're not reinventing the wheel, right? We're taking some proven format that's already working for brands that are scaling, and then we are just going to use that for our own product, targeting these sub-avatars like I've been showing you. So let me pop back over to Mural Board. All right, now we're back over at Mural Board. Now, how are we actually doing this? So the one thing you guys want to make sure that you're doing is over this test, we want to keep all the formats the same. So let's just say we're just going to go with like this one. This is the format that we're going to use. All right, we're going to keep that the same across everything because we're just testing, right? We're testing all these sub-avatars, and this is really how you're going to find out exactly who we need to target and who we really need to niche down on and go all in, right? Because especially when you're at lower scale, like if you're at $500, $1,000, $2,000 a day in spend, you don't want to be running all these avatars at the same time. But also at the same time, right now, we also don't know who we're selling to. So we need to test first, and this is what makes this strategy so good, is because we're going to get to kind of do like a marksman rifle test, so then we can actually see what's working. Then we can just cut the ones that don't work that well and then really dial in on the one that is working. So kind of the way that you go about it is you'll have 3 image ads for each one of these. So there'll all be 3 image ads. And basically what our test is going to be is just going to be a sub-avatar test. And the way I like to go about it is having a different angle in each one, right? So now we're also niching down on angles as well to see what actually works. So sub-avatar 1, the person who doesn't want to take Ozempic, there's 3 different things that we're going to be able to find inside of here. So now there's 3 different angles that we can test. We're going to be able to just use like the same format, send them all out, and then we're just going to be able to see, all right, which one is working, and then let's just say angle 1 is working, angle 2 is working, but angle 3 isn't, and let's just say that all the rest of these failed. Now we know, all right, under our sub-avatar, the person who doesn't want to take Ozempic, maybe it's because like the side effects, maybe that was one of our angles, maybe angle 1 was about the side effects, maybe angle 2 we were just talking about like the natural solution. So maybe those are the two angles that are actually going to be able to scale us. So now that we have those 2 angles and we've realized, all right, sub-avatar 1 is a winning avatar, we can start moving into the next step, which is really gonna scale us like super, super hard. So now that we have our 1 sub-avatar that is winning and we have a couple winning angles around that from the test that we just did, you're gonna wanna go in to start making AI voiceover ads. So this is really what's gonna scale up your ad account hard. These ads, AI voiceover ads, scale super, super hard. And if you kind of don't know what AI voiceover ads, they're the ads that you see where it's just an AI voice talking over with kind of B-roll clips in the background. These ads are super, super good. So Once we find that, we're just going to start making AI VO ads off of the winning angle that we found. So again, you don't want to reinvent the wheel here, especially if you're in the start, you're still at 1K a day in spend, maybe you're making like 2K, 3K a day in revenue. You guys do not want to start just reinventing the wheel yet. You want to look for proven formats that are already working inside of the market. So whether that's like if you took blank for 7 days, this is what would happen. Like that's a format that always works for supplement brands. So just finding stuff that actually works in your market and then just kind of copying that format. So if you guys, again, don't really know how to go about like finding winning formats, again, kind of the same process that we did a little bit earlier. Go on Get Hooked, look at 4 or 5 stars. Another great way to do it is find ads that are on actually Atria, and then basically what you can do is just look them up on AdSpy, and then look at how many shares that they actually have. Because if they have a bunch of shares, that means a lot of people are engaging with this and a lot of people like the product. So these are just a couple ways. And then also, now that Ad Library does have that high impression filter, you guys can just go look on there, go look up your product in your market, and then start looking at the top ads that have the most impressions, and you'll start to be able to like realize, all right, what kind of formats are actually winning in my market and what ones can I take from my own brand and start using my own unique angle and my sub avatar that I found from the test that's actually working right now. So that's exactly how you're going to go about actually looking for formats. So I can kind of pop up exactly like what you could do. So for this Ozempic example that we've been talking about, I just looked up GLP-1 because that's just a big keyword that'll be in that market. So obviously we're going to see a lot of like pills about like actually Ozempic. Then like you see something like Grunz. Obviously this is a video ad, but Grunz is poop more well on a GLP-1. So maybe that's a massive thing that actually happens in the market. So this is a format that's obviously working really well for them. So maybe that's something that we could save and then use for our own. Then also you guys can keep on scrolling down. Let's try to find something that's not Ozempic and like actually more of a format from a brand who's selling like a GLP-1 supplement. Hers is a massive brand, so you kind of see what they're doing. They're just mostly doing music with text on screen. So we kind of want to look for more of an AI voiceover style. So we're going to just keep on scrolling. All right, so I just found an ad about a GLP-1. So let's kind of see what format they're using.
This is what happens to your love handles after taking InnoShred GLP-1 every single day.
All right, so this is what happens to your love handles when you take GLP-1 every single day. All right, so that's a pretty good format. That's a proven format that we could possibly copy. I just watched the rest of the
Within minutes of your first dose, you might experience a comfortable warmth that starts spreading through your body. That's the theobromine kicking in, helping deliver sustained energy and that feeling like your body actually wants to move again. As you start working out in week 1, things can change fast.
All right, so we're kind of seeing like a little bit of a timeline ad. So timeline ads work very, very, very well right now. So this is something where you're like, if you're selling a GLP-1 supplement, you could be like, all right, obviously right now in the market, timelines are working really well. So how can we market this to our sub avatar with the angles that we found and really dial on that with the format that we just found? So basically, you're just gonna want to scroll down here, just keep on scrolling through here, and try to find like 3 to 5 formats that you really, really like and would use, and then you're gonna want to start really testing that angle. So we're going to start going really, really hard in on this angle. So we're going to start making ads around this. We're going to start making ads around this. And we're really going to dial in just because we already found that it's proven from the test that we did with the image ads that it's converting, that this is an angle that can really, really scale. So we're just going to really double down on this and just start testing a bunch of different formats. And then also from the research that you do, you can start testing different concepts as well. But just you really want to keep these angles the same and really focus on trying to get these angles up to scale. So yeah, boys, that is my exact scaling structure that I use to take my brands from 1K days all the way up to 10K days. This works very, very effectively when you guys actually do apply this, right? So make sure we are using formats that are already proven, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Just look what's already working in the market, and then just take the sub avatar and then the angles that you found inside of that sub avatar that are working and apply those to the winning formats. And trust me, this will be a very, very quick way where we'll actually be able to understand what's actually working and what will work for your product. And then immediately after that, you really want to dial in on the AI voiceovers and be able to scale those up. So if you guys do want help actually implementing this, I go a lot more in depth inside of my one-on-one mentorship with all of this. So if you guys do want to apply for my one-on-one mentorship, I'll leave that with the first link in the description. We've had multiple students now that have been able to actually scale their brand up with not just running straight callow rips anymore. So if you guys do kind of want to get out of this whole like just callow trenches and only being able to scale on callow and actually learn how to create good ads that will actually be able to get your brands up to 10K days and be able to keep them lasting for years on end and not just dying out, again, you guys can apply with the first link in the description to my one-on-one mentorship. But yeah, boys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.